Okay, so let's say that we wanted to transform some values that are in current models to new values, except this time we're going to use Power Query to do it. So the first thing we're doing is just creating a table, and we're getting all of the parameters out for those particular models that are there for all the PRT files. As you can see here, it produces a pretty decent sized table with all of the parameter names and values for each model that's out there. Now, to set up kind of a workflow within Excel using Power Query, we're going to come up to the Data tab, and we're going to say from table range for that particular table. And you can see here it's brought up kind of the same contents. Now we're gonna name this my table 2 because that's what we're going to produce. And let's say that we're interested in transforming just a let's say we're interested in the engineered by and also the modeled by values. So we've got this information here. As you can see, it's been filtered, and there's a couple ways to make these changes. So if we know that we're looking for a specific value, like this DHB value, we could actually select on that and say replace values, and we'll say, well, this is let's say cool. So when we do that, you'll notice here that it will go and do a replace in the operations steps for that. But that's really kind of dependent on that value of DHB being there within any models that we come across. If that's not the case and you're just looking to force things to be a particular value, we can actually do that in a simpler way. And the way to do that is to actually rename the column to something else like parameter old. And we're going to add in kind of a replacement column for that. And we'll use the same name that was there before. So PARAM value. And we'll say, let's say nice in this case. So once we have this here, NitroCell is going to look for specific columns to kind of work with relative to setting information. So it's looking for item name, parameter name, value, type in, whether it's designated or not. And we can also force designation changes too. So like, for example, if we wanted to come in and say, we really want all these to be designated true in the end. And if we don't want to see this extra column here, we can, of course, just remove it from display. And now we've got pretty much a table that's ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and keep this, and it's going to write a new table down to Excel. So this is table 2, which is going to be our reference. And to get this to import into Creo, we're going to create a new execute sheet. In this particular case, we're going to say send stuff. It's going to be the name of it. And the only thing we need to do now is two things. Before we send information, we may want to, let's say, refresh all of the worksheets in Excel to make sure that they're current, meaning all of the tables are computed for Power Query. And then we're just going to do a simple table set function for the parameters, and then we're going to use our TBL I table 2 for the name of the table, which is going to be imported, which is this. So now when we run this, we have a standardized process that no matter what the values are that are currently set in the models, it's going to force them to be set to a new value. And if we come in and we take a look at a particular part, you'll notice that it has changed all of these to nice regardless of what the values are. So if we come in here and we say, okay, this is super wrong value, we'll save that. If we come back and run this process again, it's going to go get all the data from Creo. It's going to run it through the filters through Power Query, prepare a final table, and that spider model, as you see in here somewhere, should be set to nice. And if we come back over here to take a look at that model in Creo, then it's obviously set correctly again. So that's a pretty slick way to kind of set up a nice little workflow using Power Query to transform data and send it back to Creo for cleaning model data up.